And CTV News did reach out to Conservative candidate Don Stewart multiple times, but did not hear back. So how crucial is this by-election? Well, let's ask the front bench. Sabrina Grover was a federal Liberal candidate in the 2021 election. She's senior advisor at Spark Advocacy and North Star Public Affairs. Mélanie Paradis is a former communications director to Aaron O'Toole. She's now the president of Texture Communications. Former interim NDP national director Carl Belanger is here in studio with us. He's now the president of Traction Strategies. And newly announced CTV News correspondent Rachel Aiello here. Congratulations, Rachel, from everybody on the Friday panel, obviously. Sabrina, we're going to start with you on this one, though. Is this a referendum on Justin Trudeau or not?
I wore my Liberal red in support of Leslie just for this. So, I don't think it is. I think it's certainly an important by-election. And I think that it's been an impressive seat that Carolyn Bennett has held, and she's made a real impact in that community. And I think that that's what's going to be remembered as people kind of head into the polls on Monday, and have been in these advanced polls. I think it's certainly important as a signal, but the Prime Minister said this earlier this week when he did that interview, that most Canadians aren't really in a decision mode. By-elections are tough. The voter turnout is low. It's halfway to summer. People aren't really paying attention. So I think it'll be tough to use this as a gauge necessarily on a referendum for the Liberals, but I certainly think it'll be important.
Melanie, the Liberals have won this riding by at least 20 points in the last 3 votes. Is a single-digit win a bad thing for them?
Absolutely. Catastrophic. And so actually the date that I go back to is the 2011 election, which was the Harper majority. Carolyn Bennett still won the seat because it's important to note, this is one of the safest Liberal ridings in the country. It's probably top 3 in English Canada in terms of how safe this is as a Liberal seat. But in that election, Carolyn Bennett won by about 8 points. And so I think that that's the number I'm looking for next week is whether they are above or below 8. I think if they are lower than that, then that is going to be a very stark warning sign for Liberal caucus about what the summer is going to look like for them on the barbecue circuit, talking to people in their ridings. I think it's going to be very difficult for Justin Trudeau to stay on in that case. And I think that we could possibly see if the number is in single digits, certainly if it's below 8, it's possible that he may, I'll be on resignation watch at that point in time. Before July 1st, I think you need to make a decision really quickly. Speaking as someone who has a lot of experience with leadership elections in the past couple of years, it takes at least 100 days to run a good national leadership election. So if he were to decide to step down, the Liberal Party would need at least that amount of time to put together a solid election for the new leader.
Carl, what kind of spin are you looking for out of this by-election from both parties, no matter what the result is?
Well, frankly, the only thing that matters is winning or not winning. And if the Liberals win that by-election, no matter the margin, they have a new Liberal MP. And that's a positive story for them, and they'll try to spin that.
Even if it's
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like people try to extrapolate, trends of by-elections and what it means for the general election. The only thing that matters is winning that seat. So the Liberals, even if they win by 4 or 3 or 2 or 1 or it doesn't matter. They've won the seat. That's what they need to do. So they will pull all the stuff they can. They will call all GTA activists that they can to try to get that seat, keep that seat in the fold. If they lose it, then you have a whole different narrative setting in, which is even in Fortress Toronto, the Red, the Liberals are losing seats. And that's a narrative that's going to be really hard to shake off. Now, I expect the Liberals will win, but if they don't, that's where Trudeau is in real trouble. And the one thing I've noticed, though, is like you talk about the referendum on Trudeau, a by-election is it's a thing for all people, but certainly the Liberal candidate is not running on the Trudeau brand. I didn't see Team Trudeau all over those Liberal signs. Yeah. And so different dynamics are at play, but Trudeau is not a strength right now for the Liberals, that's for sure.
Probably won't see the Team Trudeau brand anywhere for a little while. Rachel, how do you think this affects the traveling road shows we're going to see over the summer when you consider the barbecue circuit is in full effect? Poilievre's RV is hitting the road. So how does it affect that messaging?
Well, I think what is going to be really important to watch next week is if Poilievre is going to continue his RV tour through Quebec, does he make a detour right before Monday and head to this by-election? I think if the Conservatives are looking at all likely to take this seat, I would assume that Poilievre would want to be there on election night because that is a huge win. And so unless he makes that detour, it would likely to me read as the Liberals will be likely to hold it. So I think it is an interesting strategy, one, that Poilievre decided to go to Quebec to start this and not head right there to support his candidate. And I wonder what the numbers are going to show us in terms of some of the issues that played out in that riding. Our colleague Judy Trin will have more on that this weekend. And more so what comes from this in terms of how the parties sell it, like what we were getting at in terms of this is one by-election. There are going to be more, so I'm sure that we'll probably have this conversation again over if another upcoming by-election is another referendum on the Prime Minister, if they kind of eke this one out. But certainly it's going to be kind of that setting stone of whether or not we are all gearing up for a very tumultuous political summer, depending on the outcome for the Prime Minister. But certainly it's shaping up to be, it seems at least with Poilievre where he is in Quebec, less likely to be a blowout surprise for the Conservatives. Otherwise, I think he would be there.
Yeah, and we'll see whether or not that RV hits the 401. Maybe park somewhere around Belleville, and just in case, we're not sure.